Good morning, everybody, or afternoon I should say. Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. I have been weeding in the garden heavily and extensively today, and it doesn't show at all. Except that the birds are loving it where I've turned up the dirt. I've got weeds all over the yard where I've been tossing them out so they can't regrow because it rains every day. And boy, what a job. This is hours and hours and hours of work. And they keep coming back in this weather. The weeds are growing so fast. Big weeds. Look at that. I've got piles of them. Still got a lot to do. I have here a tomato that's starting to grow. The potatoes are pretty much end of life on this row. Over here the beans are starting to bear fruit. There's a bean. A long bean, and there's some shorter ones in there. I'm not sure this is something unusual that Melanie planted this year, and they're just starting to grow. I see another weed I missed. These little monsters are terrible to pull out. They have deep roots that run underground, and they long runners, and it's really a mess. So now that it's starting to dry out, the rain has slowed down, I see I missed a lot of weeds here. It's really hard, really hard. But over here, that's the other half, that's what it looked like. And here's what it looks like now. So the beans are starting to bear fruit, so I'm cleaning them up. I have no idea what caused this death in the leaves this year, but the plants are starting to live and grow. So yeah, down over here a ways, we actually have some pretty little flowers coming along on a different kind of bean. Here, things had eaten the leaves off entirely. We had ground squirrels doing a lot of damage. Here, see, one leaf is on this plant. They're starting to grow. There's another one. Between the hot weather, the lack of rain, and the ground squirrels, we didn't have any food this year. You can see here, all eaten off. They're starting to try to grow now. So, and then those beans are flowering and growing and bearing fruit. So that's good. Now we're gonna have, I think we're gonna have a freeze tonight. So I'm putting up these stakes in the rows. Look, I still got to do that side. This is what here looked like that. Now that it's raining heavily, the weeds are just growing out of control. Now over here, been doing some hit and miss weeding. I've got stakes along the rows. Now I'm going to run string along there, and then I'm going to spread out my tarps, my drop cloths. I'm going to try to protect the plants tonight from freezing as good as I can. So this is mostly my project for today, is working in the garden and trying to protect the plants. And it's raining on and off, so my camera stays indoors, so don't know how much I'll get to record today. Well, I got the walkway and the potato row entirely weeded. Not a single speck of anything except for the dead plants I threw in the middle. It's hard on the back and everything else and the knees doing this, but I'm getting it. So I've got half the bean row. I didn't get the walkway yet, but I've got half the bean row. That was the worst of all, as you can see by this massive jungle here. And then I put up strings along the stakes. I put in a couple more stakes and I ran the strings up for later. This evening I'll run the plastic sheets up here and protect them from freezing. Now while I was working in the potato row, I found there's still life in these, so I'm going to keep them going. I wasn't going to protect them, but they're still growing. They're actually still putting up new leaves, some of these are. So whatever they're doing, I'll give them a chance to keep doing it. I want to have maximum harvest. Now these all got killed in the frost, but down here, these were planted a little bit later, and they're coming in now very well. Here I've got a potato in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where he came from, so whatever. This end here is going to be abandoned because there's nothing. The peas that were here almost all died out. And down in here, there's a couple random sporadic potatoes that are trying to live. So I'll cover these here. And the rest, look at this. The wild is taken over horribly. It's just growing. These things send out runners and they just burst out all over the place. The kale is good. I mean, we're constantly weeding. It's just out of control this year. The weeds are totally out of control on us. And we lost the peas at this row this year entirely. So I'm just going to throw cardboard on it. I'm going to get cardboard and cover the walkways and cover the any areas that's dead, and then put mulch over that when I get some later. Well guys, I did finish covering up all the stuff last night. Now I've got to lift it up. It did not freeze. Actually, the funny thing is, now that I was prepared, it didn't freeze at all. Little bit of trouble with the wind, but you know, whatever. It was my first night, and I did have it protected. Over here I had a bunch of tarps, which you can't see from here. Let me see. We got it peeled aside, but because the sun is coming up, I've got to pull all the tarps out. I had all this tarped over here, and it's oddly that one looks black. I don't think it froze here, but the peppers look blackened as if they were cold. Maybe that's just their color. I've got some jalapenos to harvest and some Hungarian peppers. So the peppers are really doing good this year. The tomatoes got flattened by the tarps, but they're alive. They're finally opening up and growing, but I just think it's too late. We're not going to have a harvest. There's just no way. This is September. I just think it's way too late now. There's nothing I can do. Might be able to transplant them and put them in an underground greenhouse, but then the sun is going to become less and less anyway. So, yeah, not much we can do there. Down over here, I had everything covered all the way across, but we folded the tarp aside, and, well, except for down here, I didn't have enough to cover the back side of the garden. Look here, it's one of Melanie's special long beans. So we do have food growing, finally. It took time, but it's growing. So we're going to preserve it, and we'll get a harvest here. We are going to get a harvest finally. And we do have a lot of potatoes, and we have a nice crop of corn growing. And our vine type plants are really starting to grow hugely. But the, what do you call it, powdery mildew is starting to kill them off. So, I don't know. I know you can spray them with baking soda and water, so I might have to start doing that. Well, I've got to uncover this, and that's it. That's all I did with my day, was garden work. Morning guys, it's the next day. It's 38 degrees out now, 100% humidity. Of course, it's not much better inside, 77% humidity. Says the weather's finally clearing. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Really, really cold. So it froze, so I had the plastic over the garden again. Let's go see. I'm pretty sure there's frost on the ground. That was the first idea, that it was really cold last night. All the windows are covered with a wet film. So definitely it was a good idea to cover those plants. Well guys, there it is. It's heavy frost this morning. Really heavy. So it's a good thing we did that. There's a white sheen on everything. So we'll see later how it goes, but I'm going to get this video up for you all to see. Preparations turned out alright this time. I got, you see now all the covers on everything. Boy, the wind blew some of the stuff around. I hope those plants will be okay. I don't see as much frost over here. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But here, you can see the white on the plants. I knew it was going to freeze last night because it was cold. It was 50 degrees already at 10 o'clock last night. So we left the cabbage type plants uncovered. The tomatoes we abandoned. I don't know, maybe it's not that damaging. We'll find out today how everything goes. But we covered, oops, some of the peppers got uncovered by the wind. I hope everything's fine because the peppers are starting to really bear fruit and everything's looking good. This flimsy little thin plastic I got this time is not holding down. It is all they had. Anyway, I'll get this out to you guys to see what's going on. We'll talk to you later. This is Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. Please do like, subscribe, and share. Follow our daily videos as we strive to become fully self-sufficient and off the grid on a budget. See people asking about what I mean by that? I'll do a video on that soon, so watch for that too. Talk to you guys later.